And welcome back, Math 1, to this final part of our applications of quadratic functions. This one I made a number theory example. I know there's probably more applications, in fact there really are. And maybe we'll see some more as we review for that EOC. But this problem we're getting ready to look at here comes up quite frequently. And, oops, wrong picture. Anyway, there it is. So this is a number theory problem. It's talking about one number is 14 more than another number. The product of the two numbers is 576, and we're being asked to find these numbers. So this is one where we're going to have to assign some variables. We're talking about a product of these things, so it's going to become a quadratic. Maybe we don't realize that at first glance. So we need to write an equation, and when we do that, we need to assign variables. So the very first thing you need to do is I call it make a let statement, and that's where you assign your variables. For example, we might say something like let, and you know what? I don't need an equation editor for this. We'll say x. Maybe x is going to be your first number, and then what's the next one going to have to be? Well, it's going to have to be 14 more than this one. So then we're going to keep it in terms of x. It'd be a mistake to start assigning two variables here. All right, so we got us I got a capital X and a lowercase. That's definitely not a good idea. There we go. All right, so we got x and we got x plus 14, and now let's talk about what this looks like in terms of the algebra. Now, it looks like to me we need to multiply them together because that's what the word product means. When I say the product of the two numbers, well, here's my two numbers. Product means multiply these two numbers together, and that's what we'll do. And they say this is 576. When is your equal sign. Those two things are equivalent. So there's my equation. I need to solve this. First, let's do it by hand. I'm assuming that we're not allowed to use it. Well, let's see. We'll do a little bit of work on this. So I think we should do some simplifying here. Notice this is in a sort of a factored form on the left-hand side, but that's not equal to 0. So it needs to be worked with some. So we're going to multiply it together. I get x squared plus 14x, and that is 576. Oh, I forgot my x there, didn't I? Now, I hope you realize I need to subtract this 576 from both sides and put this thing in standard form, and I have myself a quadratic equation. Okay, so this is one that we can solve by factoring, but just to remind you how one way you can kind of do this, and I wouldn't call it cheating, but if you'll remember, I showed you that if you take that number, because remember we need to multiply to 576, negative 576, add to 14. Well, 576 is kind of big. So remember the trick where you can throw this in the calculator and divide it by x. And we're going to take a look at the table. And remember, every decimal we see in here is a combination that doesn't work. Like when we started 1 and 576, okay? And they're 14 apart, so you see 6 and 96 multiplies to that, but it doesn't give me what I need, and we've got to keep on going. 9 and 64 won't work. Let's see, where are we going here? 18 and 32. Will that work? See, these are 20 apart right here. It's 36 minus 16 is 20. 32 minus 18 is 14. So I think we found what we needed. So we got our 32 and our 18 right there. That's our combination. And this will factor. So looks like our 32 will have to be the positive. And our negative is going to be the 18 I mean. And when we solve this, we're going to get the solution set is going to be negative 32 and 18. Now, clearly, there's one of those numbers that's right, and then there's one that's no good. On the negative 32, doesn't seem like it's going to work. If I add 14 to that, I don't get what I need. Now, the product of the numbers is positive, so we know it can't be a negative 32. So our answer has to be x is your first number, and the second number is positive 32. And one real quick thing I want to show you, if you ran into this where you could use, well, if you could use a calculator, you could use a Desmos, right? So graphing that, you would have graphed this right here, and you notice you don't see anything. And that's why I like Desmos better than the graphing calculator for things like this. Oh, it's not turned on. When we turn it on, we see these intercepts. There's that negative 32. There's that positive 18. Take the 18, add your 14 to it, and there's your solutions. Anyway, hope this helps you. And this is the last of the ones I was going to do for this short series. So see you in the next ones, guys. That's it for Module 7. So try the Delta Math. You should see some problems like this, and good luck. Be safe and stay healthy.